Today you'll see some really comfy knit tops that are super easy to wear. Some of these details look harder to sew than they are, like a little button placket, but it's fake. You can also add little cute pin tucks. Very comfy, what we want to wear, right? Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and today I'm excited to share a brand new pattern from Love Notions called Juliet. It's a style that can work for any weather. It just depends on the fabric that you use. I think the details are really cute and you can make a whole bunch of these and really enjoy them. A nice amount of ease so you can live your life and be comfortable. What you'll see on the line out here is that all of these have a front yoke. The neckline is a little higher here and it's because of the yoke detail. If the neckline was lower, then that front yoke would sort of disappear. It's a rounded yoke and it'll be above the bust, so sort of at the high bust area like this. Very cute. You can sew it plain or you can sew a fake button placket on the center front that is just made with a pleat. You can sew buttons all the way through the layers. You don't need buttonholes, or you can do the button placket plus these little pin tucks on each side of the button placket. I think that's really cute. So those are options for you. You can make it really simple or just add those little few extra steps to get something extra for your top. Underneath the front yoke, you have the front piece, which is gathered from around this area all the way down here. It's not excessive, it's not a lot of gathering. I think it looks really great on everyone. And then towards the waist and the hips, it's nice and roomy. Designed to be at the full hip. And for sleeves, you can make it sleeveless, you can do short sleeves, long sleeves. There's also a flutter sleeve if you like those. The neckline is finished with binding, the same as you would finish it if you're doing the sleeveless version. The back is just simple, cut on the fold. Because the Juliet top is a brand new pattern, it's going to be discounted by around 25% for the first week. That goes through the 5th of June, Monday next week. Find my affiliate link down below if you'd like to use it. You don't pay anything extra, but part of that sale comes back to me as commission, and that supports the work that I do here on YouTube. The Juliet is designed for knit fabrics. You do need stretch. This won't work with a woven. You need at least 20% stretch. It's not a lot, so I think a lot of the fabrics in your collection might work. Move your fabric around, make sure it drapes nicely, because that's what's going to make these gathers here look really nice. I would stay away from really heavy, stiff fabrics like cotton lycra. Not all cotton lycra is heavy, but there are some that are quite stiff and heavy. I would stay away from those. Ponte Roma, scuba, that type of material, I wouldn't touch. I think a really nice rib knit would work. Rayon spandex, bamboo spandex, modal spandex, those are great. ITY, double brush poly. I've used a really drapey, lightweight sweater knit for one of mine, and also athletic knits are great. This would be a great workout top. Think about fabrics that drape nicely, that fall nicely, and those are going to take the gathers really well and they won't look chunky and sticking out sort of thing. Also, if you are sewing the flutter sleeve option, make sure your fabric has nice drape, because flutter sleeves do not look nice in stiff fabric. So you could have something lightweight that is not too drapey. Then the flutter sleeves are just going to poke out and not look very nice. So think about that if you like that option. Sizing goes from extra small to 5X. There is a standard bust option and a full bust option. Use the full bust option if the difference between your high bust and your full bust is 4 inches or more, or at sewing D cup size or more, and you have 2 extra inches of circumference around the bust. But just be aware that that carries down to the waist and hips as well, keeping the feet around the shoulders and neck nice and close to your body and not gaping. So choose your base size based on your high bust circumference. If you have a smaller difference from 3 and below, then the regular bust option is going to work fine for you. This is a roomy design. You have positive ease throughout. Now remember, if you're doing the full bust option, you need to add 2 inches to that, so your top might end up a little looser. I think that's something you can always adjust on the side seams. If you don't want that extra ease around the waist and the hips, you can just sort of bring it a little in on the sides. The only fitting adjustments I've made here is regarding to length, meant to reach the full hip for a woman of 5'5", and just measuring and figuring it out. My top is 1 inch longer, and for my long sleeves I needed to add 1¼ inches. Remember, length is really customizable to what you want, especially with a style like this where you have a nice amount of ease at the waist and hips. You can lengthen it down. If you like tunics, just make it longer. You don't need to worry. If you like it to cover your bottom, just add. If you want a dress, just add. There is a lot you can do with length, especially in a pattern like this that's not sensitive to where the waist placement is or the hip, because the shaping is pretty straight in this area. The sewing is really easy. I'm going to focus on the yoke, on the fake button placket, the pin tuck, and then how to sew this gathered area onto the yoke. So let's see how to put the Juliet top together. Look at this athletic knit that I found in my collection. It's actually the same print, but on one of the selvage edges, there's a type of inverse color going on there with a beige background. I'm going to be creative and use that lighter area for the yoke pieces. This knit stretches the same vertically and horizontally, so I'm quite happy to just turn the fabric around and cut the yoke pieces from all along the selvage edge and use the black area for the main pieces. Here are the pattern pieces for my Juliet top. I'm making this one sleeveless, so there are no sleeves here. This is the back that's cut on the fold. This is the front that's cut on the fold. Now this area is wider. It looks wider because it's going to be gathered here underneath the yoke. These are the binding pieces for my neckline and armholes. They were just stuck together. And now you find a rectangle piece that you cut out and you do the Pintucks first if you want that option. If you don't want the Pintuck option, then you just take your yoke piece. There's a line here and there's a solid line there. So if you want a solid yoke with no fake button placket in the center, you would fold this away and then place this on the fold, and that would be the yoke piece. In that case, that's what goes above right there. Otherwise, if you want to do the fake button placket and the Pintucks, just hold on to this and work on that rectangle first. We do the fake placket, we do the Pintucks, we do all that sewing in this area. Once that's all sewn, then we put this there and then cut it out. I will show you that in detail. You saw my fabric was quite interesting, so I added myself a yoke here just above where the notches were for the sleeves. I'm not doing the sleeves, I just marked them so you can see. And I just cut my piece, added seam allowance. I cut the paper there, added seam allowance, and then I have a yoke on the back. And that's just to tie in with the yoke being this colorway on the front as well. It's just decoration basically. This is the Pintuck yoke template, and you can see it's like this, and you just cut it on the fold. And along the pattern piece, you'll see some lines. I have marked those lines over on my fabric with a friction pen. It helps that most of this is on a lighter color fabric, so it was really easy to mark. You have this first fold, this darker dashed line, this right there that I have already pinned. That's going to be the fake button placket, and we're just going to sew that together right there. Ignore that little dash, that first one there, but just count the ones that come after that, 1, 2, 3, or 4. If you're sewing sizes 2X and up, then you sew 4 Pintucks, otherwise you just sew 3. I'm doing an extra large, so I have 1, 2, 3 marks there. These are 1 inch apart. And right here on the other side, I have the same, 1, 2, 3 for my Pintucks. So it's super easy. I'm going to go to the sewing machine and just use a straight stitch for this. First, I'm going to sew this fake button placket, get that out of the way, and then sew all of these Pintucks. Now to sew the Pintucks, don't get confused. It's so easy. Just follow along. Take this line and put that line right on the fold there. And this is where you're going to sew from that fold here 1/4 inch. Once you're done there, then you pick up your next line, put the line right on the fold, and then sew your next one at 1/4 inch. Pintucks are supposed to be small, so what you're not supposed to do is take these 2 lines and match them up and then sew that, because that would give you 1/2 inch. That's not a Pintuck, that would be like a pleat. So don't do that, that's wrong. The correct way is just to take the line, put that line right on the fold there and sew your Pintuck, then continue there, and then on this other side we're going to have 3 as well, or 4 if you're sewing 2X and up. It's just a lot of straight seams, basically super easy. I will use a serger for general seams, but at the sewing machine I am going to use a jersey needle. I've taken out number 80, that's why it's not in this little packet. My fabric is lightweight, but not that lightweight, so I think 70 is just too small. For the yoke details, I'll be just using a straight stitch, but for others, I'll be using a narrow zigzag. Narrow zigzag means that it looks almost flat. So it's almost flat, and then the stitch length anywhere from 2.5 to 3. First, I'm sewing the line that's later going to be the fake button placket. This is all sewn on the right side of the fabric. All the marks are done on the right side of the fabric. So we have this piece on the fold wrong sides together, and this is just a straight stitch. I'm going to start sewing the Pintucks. As you can see, I've got that line right there on the fold. I've just put a few pins, and now I'm going to sew. To make it easier, I'm using a 1/4 inch presser foot. It just makes it so relaxing. This stitch is going to be seen, so you need something that matches your fabric. I'm using beige thread here because that's the background of my fabric. Just let the feed dogs do their thing. Don't stretch or pull on the fabric so it doesn't end up wavy. Okay, that's 1 down, 2 more to go on this side, so you can see where the line is there. Just take your line, put your line right on the fold there, get a few pins to help, and then we do this again, and then we do the exact same thing again on the next line right there. Okay, so we have 2 done. You can see that line is right there on the fold, and now comes the third one for this side. This is very easy. There's nothing hard. We're just doing straight seams, no special technique here. It's just about understanding where to fold and marking these lines accurately. Some knit fabrics are easier to work with than others. I find this one's fine. Okay, so that's one side done, 3 little pin tucks there. Remember, you could have marked the 4th one here if you're sewing sizes 2X and up. And then on this other side, I have to do the exact same thing. Here are the 3 lines, 3 more pin tucks. So I'll get that done, and then I'll be back to sort out this fake button placket that we have right here. Just ignore it for now. Okay, here are the pin tucks sewn, 3 on each side, and we still have this flappy business. All you need to do to create this fake placket is just take this fold and flatten it and distribute the volume of this. You can see how that looks right there. So we do that all the way up, and then we just top stitch on the edge right here, and it will make it look like it's a placket. I can feel the seam and sort of see it, so I'm just making sure everything is nice and flat. I'm going to put a few pins, and if you've ever seen me sew, especially with a fabric that moves a little like this, you know I'm going to do some quick hand basting to hold it down. Okay, there you can see some quick hand basting, keeping this flat. This is how it looks like on the other side. It just looks like a seam on the wrong side. It's all very flat. Now I'm just going to top stitch on each of these edges, and that's going to hold it down. Whatever color thread I used in there, you won't see it. I forgot to change my thread and I used black, but no worries, no one's going to see it. I did change it for this though, because you can see these pin tucks. No matter what side you press them to, you will see that stitch. So it better be something that looks nice. Now you can press these going out. That's up to you, or you can press them going in. I personally think they look nicer pressed in because they end up closer to the placket, or you can just do them out and have a little distance between them. All up to you. Here you can see the 2 seams I did on the edge. I just used the regular presser foot for that. I'm just going to press this flat, and I like my pin tucks towards the center. I think that's how they look nicest, but that's just what I like. Fold this away if you don't want to use the fake placket just on the simple yoke. So you can do a simple yoke just with the fake button placket. In that case, you would cut it on the fold there and sew it there. Do the same detail that we did right here without the pin tucks. So that's an option. But to cut the template out on this area that's already being sewn and pin tucked, you need to fold that line away, and this will be the center. The center is going to be right in the middle of the fake button placket, so basically where that seam was. So what I did was just place it right there. I drew it on the edge with the friction pen all the way around here. Then I flipped it like this and drew again like that with my friction pen. Maybe you can see my blue lines here all the way around there. So I can see very clearly now where I'm going to cut. And so this is going to have a shape now with the pin tucks already done. And we have our little detail. It's so pretty. Here's the front piece. You'll find some notches right there, so I've marked those there with a friction pen. I also made a little mark in the center right there. That's important. We just need to extend this, and from that mark to that mark over here, we're going to do some gathering stitches. I'm just going to do 2 parallel rows using a long stitch length, one really close to the edge, and then the other one sort of at 1/2 inch. When we sew this to the yoke piece, the seam allowance is going to be 3/8, so that will allow me to catch it, and the gathers turn out super neat. Okay, so there are the 2 rows of stitching, long stitch length. What we need to do is take our yoke and put it upside down. So basically the rounded area on top here. And then we get our front piece. Remember, I have a mark on the center. And this is what's going to match the center right here. Remember, we have a seam. That seam, so that's going to match. Take the edge of the front and match it up to the yoke on the edge, and we're going to start pinning from this way, that way. So the first part of this area is 1 to 1, there's no gathering, and then we get to this little mark, and I'm gonna put a pin right there. And then we do the same thing from the other side. You can see that shape that matches. It's been true to the shape of the yoke. So just align them right there on the side and pin inwards. Now you can see that there's all this excess that we need to gather in. I like doing it from here to the center, from here to the center. I just think it's easier, and just pull them the same with the same tension and you'll get the gathered area here. It's not a lot, it's not hugely gathered. You can see the pin tucks are going to the center. Just make sure you keep them that way. If you're doing it like that, just make sure they don't move to another direction that you didn't press them originally to. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Once everything's pinned, then we sew this 3/8 seam allowance. I'm going to do it with a sewing machine, and I'm going to use a narrow zigzag for this area. And then after sewing this at 3/8, I'm going to clean up the edges with the serger. I'd rather do it with the sewing machine. I feel more confident that I'm doing the gathers nice and neatly, that I'm getting the seam allowance nice and neatly. Okay, that's the little seam catching the gathers. That's how the gathers look on this side. I think they look really pretty. It's not much. It's in a whitish area, you know, they're going to distribute nicely and give you that ease. I'm going to head over and serge this and neaten it up so it's not left raw in there. And then it's just like sewing any other neat top, shoulder seams, side seams, put your sleeves in, all of that. But this is what's going to take probably the longest, and I think you should take your time so that it turns out nice and neat. Then we just sew buttons right through. You don't need to do buttonholes, nothing like that. This is just for decoration. I had to change my location because it started raining, but this is the one that you saw in the tutorial. It's an amazing athletic knit. I was so fortunate to find it because it looks like I've used different types of fabrics, but it's actually in the same fabric. All this light color area was just along one selvage, which I found was really weird when I purchased it, but then it got me thinking, you know, there's something cool that can happen with this later on, and that's what this became. I cut the yokes from that area. I created my own little back yoke just for decoration, just so that this makes sense. It's just an extra seam, you know, you cut your pattern, add seam allowance, piece it back together, and it's the exact same piece. So I love the contrast. I left the lighter areas here on the top, my upper chest area. I think even though this is a print, you can still really see the details because of this. And yeah, it's like a little work of art in my opinion, and I love how fabric can sometimes help you do that. So how all of this business came together. It was so fun, very neat, easy to do. I just put 2 buttons there, sewed right through. It's the same armhole you would use if you're sewing on the sleeve, and it gives you a really nice cover there, so I'm quite happy with that. So the rest is just shoulder seams and side seams and a hem after I finished what I was going to show you. And then if you really want to keep it simple, just do the simple yoke, and then you don't have to do any of that, just do the gathering right there. This is how this looks inside. You can see there's a seam right there, there's another little seam there, and all the seams that became the Pintucks are very neat and very flat on the inside. I always serge the edge of my binding. I don't want to leave it raw. As always, you'll find helpful videos in the description box that show you these techniques more in depth. And this is workout material. It's specifically for that. It's wicking. It's really good. So I plan to wear this to the gym. It doesn't really look like it's activewear, I think, because of the style, but it could be. So I'll be happy to wear this to the gym or wear it with nice linen pants or whatever. It's going to serve me so well, and I'm really happy. This is my summer Juliet top. It's sleeveless. I made it with this really pretty athletic knit. It has some details. You'll see I have a yoke on the front and the back. Looks like it's another fabric, but it's actually the same fabric. This is a nice, easy to wear, loose top, nice amount of ease at the waist and the hips. Mine is 1 inch longer than the original pattern because I'm a little taller, and I've paired it here with leggings. I would be happy to go to the gym and work out in this. I'll be super comfy. Mine is a size extra large with the regular bust option. Here you can see the rounded front yoke, and it's got some details. I opted to do the fake button placket and the Pintucks. I've got binding on my sleeveless armhole and neckline, and I have an extra back yoke I just added that seam, and I used the same type of fabric as the front front yoke. The binding was easy to do, the fake placket also. I think the Pintucks, they look really nice. I have 3 Pintucks on each of the sides, and this is so lovely. It's so nice to wear. I wish you could feel the fabric. It's just so soft, wicking. It's just perfect for hot weather, and I'll be happy to work out in this. And then you'll see I will be happy to dress this top up as well, because it's not so in your face that it's a workout top. It can be more than that, and I love that. So here it is with black linen pants and some nice comfortable shoes, a little handbag, and I'm actually standing out in the rain. I'm getting wet a little bit as I film this for you. It just started raining. I'll be happy to just go out in this top and use it like a regular top. This is not too dressed up, but it's not a workout type of outfit at all. And this top is gonna serve me so well. I love this print, and over any pants or skirt, I can have a really nice top. So happy I found this special fabric where I can have the contrast yoke and the extra yoke at the back while it being the same fabric, because it's the same fabric. It was on the selvage. I love finding fabrics like that. It just makes the sewing a lot more creative and a lot more fun. Here is my Juliet top for in-between weather, spring, autumn. It is a sweater knit, but it's very, very lightweight. It's not something that's going to keep me super warm when it's super cold. It's not going to make me hot if it's sort of cold, so I think it's perfect for this weather over here anyway. And it was really easy to work with. It's light and drapey. That's why I'd chosen it, apart from loving the print, because I knew it was going to take the gathers around this area really well. I do have the yoke with the fake button plackets, and then over here we have the little pintuck details. The print was really interesting here. I had to think about where I wanted that thicker sort of print placement. I didn't cut this the other way around. This is the way the fabric is supposed to be, and I'm glad there were some vertical features here in the print like this, and that is the same type of thing that I centered on the back as well. Hemmed with a twin needle. Most of the seams were done with the serger, the main seams, but all of this area, sewing this to that, all the pin tucks, all of that was done with the sewing machine. You'll see it styled 2 ways with pants, one a little bit more informal, one a little bit dressier. I love having fun with that, so let's see. This is my Juliet top. I made it with a really light sweater knit, nice and drapey, perfect for spring or autumn, in between weather, and I love this print. I think it's really pretty. I sew a size extra large with the regular bust. I have long sleeves here, and all I did for fitting was add 1 inch of extra length, just because I'm a little bit tall. I like the length where it hits. It's sort of almost at my full hip. It doesn't cover my bottom. Here on the top you can see the yoke. It's harder to see the details. I can see them very clearly. There is a fake placket with buttons, little pin tucks. The back is simple. It's just cut on the fold, and underneath the yoke you have a piece with slight gathering there. I think the sweater knit was perfect because it's drapey enough to take those gathers very well without turning out bulky. Those details on the front are optional. You can also sew a plain yoke, and I have a long sleeve. I think the fit is really good. A normal type of sleeve paired over jeans here, very, very casual. And I love the pairing of burgundy with blue or navy. So that's how I put this little outfit together. Here is the same burgundy top, and I have ready to wear burgundy pants. I wish I could make my own. I just can't find the right fabric, But this is a more dressed up look with pointy sling back heels, block heels, so they're really comfy to walk in. The color in this sweater, there's not many colors I compare it to other than navy and burgundy, maybe even black. I love the style. It's so pretty, it's so soft, it feels amazing on. I love all that ease, so comfortable to wear, and I love the little details on the upper chest. I think the gathers below the yoke on the front are really discreet. I think they're gonna suit everyone, and you're just gonna reach for this one because it's just so easy to wear, comfy, and that's what we want. I really love how my makes turned out. I love that I have some for winter, for summer, for whatever type of circumstance. The sweater knit version is so nice. I could dress it up, I can dress it down and be comfortable around the house, nice and warm, but with the cute details. The workout top is great. I know I'm gonna wear that around a lot. You know, I'm always gonna make a sleeveless version, and I'm glad that this pattern has a sleeveless version as an official option, because sometimes there isn't one and I still make it sleeveless in the end. I think you might get really hooked onto making this one. I wish I'd had time to make more versions, but I'm happy with the ones I have, and I know it's gonna be a pattern I'm gonna make a lot. Don't forget to check out the Juliet top at Love Notions, 25% off through next Monday the 5th. My affiliate link is always in the description box and the pinned comments of this video, so it's easy for you to find. That's all from me. I'll see you again very soon on this channel with more sewing. Bye.